LinkText locator? We will see. Now on this page, let us launch the Selenium page only, Selenium documentation. And I want to click on a documentation after we launch this selenium.dev page. So what is this documentation? It is a link. Now to work with links, we have LinkText. So text present on a link is a LinkText. Fine.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what is the text present here? Documentation is a link present on a text. Let us write it here. Okay, WebDriver, what is the URL we have to launch? Consider this is a URL we have to launch. Okay. Let us create a new class. Okay. No, instead of changing this again and again, I'll create a new class. LinkText demo code we will write and take a main method. So launch a particular URL. This all code is same. After we are launching, I want to click on a documentation. So documentation is a LinkText. How we write? Driver dot find element by dot LinkText. LinkText we pass in the double quotes. Dot click is a method to perform a click. What is the operation we have to perform? Click. Now we are on this page documentation. Suppose we are on this page documentation. Again, I want to click on a downloads. How to click on downloads? Right click. Inspect. Can we have some answers?
Consent keys, like you have to write.
Yes, you can write it in the chat. Yes, you can take your time. Okay. Yes. Okay, no, not able to write. So now this is the A tag. We have A tag and below that we have a span, so it will work. Now to click on after we went to documentation, driver dot, again I will click on a by dot LinkText and this time we will click on a downloads. I will copy this text as it is and we will pass in this and dot click. Okay, it is clear. It is clicking on, click is the method and save it. So this time it will take downloads and we will click on it. Able to understand? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So why LinkText works? LinkText to work, we should have a tag. A tag will only work with LinkText. Only if we have A tag, then only LinkText works. Now this A tag is there, then we have a span, so it works. And it should be A tag, then only it will work. Otherwise, it may not work. Fine. Now we will run the script.
I have one question. href is also an HTML tag for the links, right? So if it is that, if that is there, then also we can use the link text.
Okay, href. Okay, href is hyperreference. Href attribute meaning is reference to this button is whatever your link text is. Where to go? like as a user should go to this downloads page. So there is a link. See, I mouse over. This is the URL they have given. The code is which is www.selenium-dev-downloads. On this page, user will be navigated. Like, see, this is the place where user will be navigated. That is a code available at that H reference attribute. So A tag will have href attribute for sure. Now, how input tag will have input tags were having the name, class name, attributes, right? Then
Yeah.
we had name, ID, class name, some area or some other attributes.
Yeah.
Like similarly for a tag, we will have href attribute. So if there is a href also, we can identify, yes, it is a link. Correct?
Yeah.
It's also correct. If there is a href, we can say that it is a link. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
fine.
Thank you.
So now we will run this code and see what it will give us the out. Fine. Chrome started. Then we have this. Okay, and fine. Okay, working fine. Good. It is clicking on documents and then downloads. Okay. So if I click on a back, it went to documentation because it initially clicked on it. So execution will happen very quickly. We may not be able to see very slow it is, but yes, we saw. Now, after this, you have any link which is very long text. Okay. I want to give it very short. Like you have a link text which is this is a link text. Suppose you have. We will see is it a link or what it is. It is not a link. Then do we have any other link? Yes, about Selenium is the link. Now I do not want to write entirely as a link text about Selenium. I just want to give about. So partial link text is used. Partially we are writing. If you have a long text on a link, you can give it partially. Then we will use partial link text. And partial link text is used very rarely. It won't be used much. But what is partial link text? By dot partial link text. In this case of partial link text, we will pass some partially, like we will not give entirely about Selenium. We will give only about. I don't know now with only about it will work or not. I'll write about like this, something short we will give for a just demo to understand. Fine. And run it. So will it click on that? We will see. So partial link text is link text, but partially we want to give because of it is very long text. In case of long text links, this will work. Okay, it is finding for that partial link text. Yes, it is clicking on about Selenium. Yes, it scrolled automatically and now it is finding and clicking on it. Fine. Okay. Something. Okay, got executed. About Selenium is maybe, okay, this is a page.
So for the link text, we have to write exactly the same text they have mentioned in the tags, or means is it a case sensitive, or like we can write if it is uppercase or lowercase, nothing matters.
You have to write as it is. Now, if I write downloads, we'll see. Like if I write documents, will it click? We will see. Okay. So will it find? Or I think it may not work. We'll see. HTML, it is finding for documentation. Okay. Not working. Did not work.
No, it didn't go for downloads.
Downloads also it did not click, or any documentation also it did not click. Because we are launching this documentation page, it is on the same page. Okay. So it will not work. Let us run again. This time I will launch only Selenium Dev and we will see. Okay. Will this work or not? So it will find for exact match. Exactly we have to give as it is. Fine. Not working, still not working. Yes. It will not take.
No, it didn't take.
It went, it is clicking.
No, Priya.
No, it is not clicking. Yeah, it should click on downloads. After this documentation, downloads it should click. Now we will run with this documents and downloads like capital. I'll close this browser which is running. Run it again. Okay, this time you see how it works. Okay, it is clicking on. We'll wait. Now also not clicking, why? Yes, it clicked on. Now it is downloads. It clicked on, like something it clicked on, came back. Partial link text is nothing we have given. Fine. So you can write link text for support, blog, okay, other links available on this page as well. Okay. So link text is very simple. Clear with this? Link text and partial link text is. So we have to see now XPath functions and CSS selector. So when we use CSS selector, we can use CSS selector even if we have ID or XPath, those things are working, we can use CSS selector. There is no as of any rule. With CSS selector, there are three things. Like if you are using ID in CSS selector, you have to write hash before the ID. So what is ID for any element? Now on the Google page, if I open, this is an input box. What we will do is we will open a Amazon page. Now on a Amazon page, I'm providing input something on this search box, which is ID I'm taking. Suppose what is ID? ID is 2-tab search text box. Control F and we add ID. So whenever we use ID locator, we directly write ID. Now when we are using CSS selector, we have to write hash. Hash before a ID is a CSS selector in case of ID. So now if I am writing ID, so we will take hash. So driver dot find element and to this by dot CSS selector and to this we will write hash and this. Now you pass a send keys and pass something here. Okay. We want to search mobiles. Yes. Getting? Can you write CSS selector for this button? There is a ID for this button. So now if we are search button is there and we are clicking on it and on click of this, what we have ID is this. So how we will write ID? Can you write a statement, everyone? I'll give just 2 minutes. Okay. If you are working with class name in the CSS selector, we have to write dot. Just a dot we have to write. So now if I take class name here, where we have class name, this is a class which is name input, name progressive attribute. If in case this is a unique, then we have to write just dot. So there are two classes. This is again a class. We have to write dot. So for class name, we have to write a dot. Okay. And there was a space. Space meaning is it is a second class. There are two classes. The best example for a class is suppose we are finding this class and we will write just a dot before it. So this is the CSS selector for this search input field. Okay. So see, it is highlighted. If we are working with class name in the CSS selector, we will write driver dot find element and by dot CSS selector, and in this semicolon or double quotes we write dot name search field, and you write dot send keys and whatever is the method we want to call, however you want to click it or type it on us. Okay. Have class name attribute uniquely, and if you are writing class name as a locator, like you are taking class name and you are writing the CSS selector, then this is dot will work. Okay, just a dot. Is it simple? Hash we have to add, dot we have to add. Just we have to remember this dot when we have to use, hash when we have to use. Okay. Simple.
Yes. Do we have any other method by CSS selector?
Yes, we have. Yes, third mechanism we have is with, there is a syntax. Okay. If you have any tag name, with that tag name you can take square bracket attribute equals to value we have to give. Okay. What is tag name here? So input is a tag, for example. For the same input button, I will write here input box. So this is the input box and ID is to search text, I copied input and square bracket and we have to copy. So this is the third way of writing CSS selector. This is somewhere similar like XPath, only double slash is missing here initially and at the rate is missing. If I write at double slash and at the rate, it will become XPath only. Right? But in CSS selector, for a attribute and value, we don't need at the rate. We directly write input ID equals to the ID value. So this is an expression we pass to the CSS selector method. Now, can you write same element for this element and for this button using this attribute and value? Input ID equals to attribute value. What you will take for this search button? This is your ID and value. Okay. Sunita, correct. Input. Okay, Sunita, directly by and input we give, or by dot CSS selector and in the bracket we give. Yes, Sunita, check once. Directly you gave it. Okay, maybe you understood, but you are writing in some fast. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, got it. So this is CSS selector. There are three mechanisms in the CSS selector. For a ID, we will use hash. For a class, we use dot. And for attribute value, we write tag name, square bracket, attribute equals to value. So now which all attribute will work here? In this also the attributes will work is class name or name will also work. Now if you have suppose name, I want to find or I have a page, Google page, and this has a name. For example, I will inspect with name where we have name equals to Q. I'll copy it, find Control F. So this is text area and square bracket ID and name is this, and not ID, name and equal to name value. So we are able to find one of one. So you can use name attribute and class name attribute. So if I am writing class name for this, what is a class? Class is GLF, something is there. So let us copy this class. Class equals to this. So that also text area, square bracket, class and your class value. Also text area, square bracket, class and your class value. We can give class equals to class value. Okay.